All right, so by now, hopefully, second period, you have watched the video notes on revenue and the profit or loss, the break-even point and profit maximizing point. And you've also learned from your warm-up whether you were right on how to do the first 6 columns. Okay, now what's going to happen is that I'm going to have you finish the last 4 columns. So I'm going to walk it through with you just like I would do in class. So you do need to pay attention. You do need to fill this in. Remember, this paper is part of your notebook that I will be checking when I give you your test on Thursday. So far we've gotten workers, total product, marginal product, fixed costs, variable costs, total costs. All right. The last cost that we did not get a chance to talk about last week was marginal costs. So fill in this column as marginal costs. Okay, now marginal cost is going to be a little tricky, and this is why I actually left this last week and did not talk about it at the end because we didn't have enough time. So marginal cost, at the very bottom, remember you have all those equations, okay? I am actually going to add a note here that's going to hopefully explain how to do this. So marginal cost at 1 worker is going to be equal to the total cost at 1 worker minus the total cost at 0 workers divided by marginal product at 1 worker. So I'm going to write it out over here this way. So marginal cost at 1 worker is equal to the total cost at 1 worker minus the total cost at 0 workers, all divided by marginal product at 1 worker. Okay, so here's what I'm telling you, okay, because the beginning part is very similar to how we found marginal product. We're just talking about costs instead of product. So remember when we found marginal product, for example, for finding 15 over here, we did 24 minus 9 gave us 15. Remember that? Okay, so that's the beginning part over here is the same. So we're looking at, for example, 14, okay, minus 12, okay. But here's the problem. 14 minus 12 is obviously 2. But here's the problem is that tells me how much it costs to produce 9 airplanes. And remember, marginal is looking at one more extra addition. So I have to take 14 minus 12 was 2, divided by 9, because that's how many more airplanes that I was able to make when I added that worker. Okay, so that's why you have to divide by marginal product. Now, the big thing and the big problem with this is that people get confused and they want to divide by total product. Please remember it. If you need to put an X over your total product to remind you, do that. But we're dividing by marginal product, not total product, okay? Because marginal product is looking at how many extra airplanes we're able to produce, okay? So that said, now I'm going to, all of this red is going to go away, okay? So that said, we're going to go through these together, okay? So, because I'm going to go back to typing mode. So starting with 0 workers, okay, so this is our equation that's going to stay up there. So 0 workers, just like we did marginal product at 0 workers, we can't do this, okay? We didn't add anybody, we didn't change anything. At 1 worker, we are going to subtract 14 minus 12, which I already said was 2, divided by 9. So 2 divided by 9 in your calculator app, if you've already done that, is 22 cents, right? At 2 workers, we're going to subtract 16 minus 14, which is 2, divided by 15. So put it in your calculator app, 2 divided by 15, and you should get 13 cents. We're rounding. Remember, this is money, so we're rounding to the nearest penny. For 3 workers, we're subtracting 18 minus 16, which is 2, divided by 20. So put that in your calculator. So 2 divided by 20 will give you 10 cents. At 4 workers, we're subtracting 20 minus 18, which is 2, divided by 35. So 2 divided by 35 is something like 6 cents. At 5 workers, we're subtracting 22 minus 20, which is again 2 divided by 23. So 2 divided by 23 will give us something like, 9 cents. At 6 workers, we're subtracting 24 minus 22, which is 2 divided by 14. So 2 divided by 14 is something like, hold on, 14 cents. Yeah, I was thinking my math was wrong. So at 7 workers, we're subtracting 26 minus 24, which is 2 divided by 12. So 2 divided by 12 will give us 17 cents. At 8 workers, we're subtracting 28 minus 26, which is 2 divided by 10, and that'll give us 20 cents. For 9 workers, we're subtracting 30 minus 28, which is 2 divided by 8, okay, which will give us 25 cents. 25 cents. And the last one we can't do, so that's a line. The reason we can't do it because we divide by a negative number, a negative marginal product. If we divide by a negative marginal product, that would be like getting us a negative marginal cost, which I don't even know what that would mean. They pay us? I don't know. So you can't do it. Anytime you have a negative marginal product, you cannot do that. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Now, some of you that were very astute noticed that every time we subtracted the total cost of the line we were on minus the line we were above, you probably noticed it was 2 every single time. Why is that? Well, think about it. Okay, our total cost went up by 2 every time. Why? Well, because our variable cost went up by 2 every time. Why did it go up by 2? Because that's how much we were paying our workers, right? So if you remember that, you can actually change this. Okay, so you can say or, I'll just put or, marginal cost at 1 worker is equal to wage divided by marginal product at 1 worker. Okay, so you can use that as well. All right, so keep that in mind. Now, the next column that we're going to do is going to be total revenue. So with your notes, you already should have talked about and listened to total revenue. Remember, total revenue is how much we get from selling our airplanes. How much we get from selling our airplanes. So, how much do you think we should sell these hypothetical airplanes for? Any guesses? Well, based off from your costs, I'm actually going to say that the price of your airplanes, we're going to say, is 25 cents. So a quarter. Okay? Based off from all of your costs. So if that is the case, so we're going to say that the cost of the price of your airplanes is 25 cents. How do we find total revenue? So total revenue is equal to the price times total product. And put an asterisk underneath it and say, Mrs. Stout will always give me the price. Okay? So I will always give you the price in the directions, whatnot, so you can always find that out. So in this case, I am giving you the price is 25 cents. So at 0 workers, we obviously made 0 airplanes, so how much is our total revenue? 0, right? Ooh, that's very bold. At 1 worker, we made 9 airplanes, and we're taking that times the price that I told you, 25 cents. So 9 times 25 will give us 225. Ooh, this is very big. Okay, at 2 workers, we made 24 airplanes. We're taking it times the price, so 24 times 25 cents will give us $6. At 3 workers, we are taking 44 times 25 cents, and that will give us $11. At 4 workers, we're taking 79, that's our total product at 4 workers, times our price of 25, and that will give us $19.75. At 5 workers, we're taking 102 airplanes times 25, and that will give us $25.50, right? At 6 workers, we're taking 116 times 25, and that will give us $29. At 7 workers, we're taking 128 times 25 cents, and that will give us $32. At 8 workers, we're taking 138 times 25 cents, and we're getting $34.50, right? At 9 workers, we are taking 146 times 25 cents, and we're getting $36.50. Oops, $36.50. And last, we're going to take 141 airplanes times 25 cents to get $35.25. All right, so hopefully that made sense. Next column, okay, as you might imagine, is going to be marginal revenue. Can't spell. Okay, so marginal revenue. Marginal revenue, remember we said, was the extra or additional revenue we get from selling one more unit of a product. So how much more are we going to collect from selling one more airplane? And I pointed this out in your notes. Think about this. How much extra am I going to get from selling one more airplane? Remember, this is the same thing as price. So, okay, this is like the easiest column possible. Marginal revenue is equal to the price. Okay, so our price is 25 cents. Now, remember, anytime we have a marginal column, we can't do the first one because we didn't add anything, we didn't change anything, and we can't do any ones that have a negative marginal product. Okay, so you can fill that in there. All right, so the rest of it you can fill in with 25 cents all the way down. So I'm actually going to go and copy and paste. Simple, right? All right, we're getting down there. Last column. Last column is going to be your profit or loss column. Okay, profit or loss. How do we know if we are making money or losing money? Well, in order to figure out if we're making money or losing money, we are actually going to look at two columns. So I say P or L, for profit or loss, is equal to, first of all, we have to know how much we're totally taking in, and then we also have to know how much it totally cost us. So what are those two columns? Hopefully you said total revenue minus total cost. So we're looking at this column here and this column here. Okay, so actually I'm going to see if I can highlight these. There we go. Oops. Okay, so we're looking at total revenue and total cost. So we're taking 0 minus 12 to get, obviously, a loss of negative 12. For one worker, we're subtracting 225 minus 14, so obviously that's a loss. It's a loss of 1175. At 2 workers, we're subtracting 6 minus 16, so that's a loss, that's easy, of 10. At 3 workers, we're subtracting 11 minus 18, so again, that's a loss of $7. At 4 workers, we're subtracting 1975 minus 20, so that's going to be still a loss, this time of only a quarter. Then we get to worker 5, we're subtracting 25.50 minus 22, so we're actually, woohoo, we're making money, we're making $3.50. At 6 workers, we're subtracting 29 minus 24, so we got another profit of $5. I don't know why that's red. Goodness. Sorry. Okay, at 7 workers, we're subtracting 32 minus 26, so we are making $6. Again, red. I'll fix it at the end. At 8 workers, we are subtracting 34.50 minus 28, so this is going to be a profit of $6.50. At 9 workers, we're subtracting 36.50 minus 30, so again, this is a profit of $6.50. And at 10 workers, we're subtracting 35.25 minus 32, so this is a profit of 3.25. Okay, so we have now gone through the entire chart. So there are two things we can actually determine from this entire chart. Remember the last slide of your notes. We can determine the profit or loss column, we can determine the break-even point and the profit maximizing point. So review your notes, look at it, see if you can figure out where the break-even point is. So hopefully you're seeing in your notes, the break-even point is where the total revenue and total costs are exactly the same. Okay, so total revenue and total costs are exactly the same. So if that's the case, in the profit or loss column, you would see a point where it is exactly 0. We don't see that. So what does that mean? Does that mean we don't have a break-even point? No, we do. We do. Okay, break-even point in this case is actually going to be between two workers. It's going to be between workers 4 and 5. This is going to be our break-even point. Okay, so break-even point is going to be between workers 4 and 5 because this is going to be where somewhere in there is going to be where our total cost equals our total revenue. Now, somebody inevitably asked me, how can you have 4.5 workers? What do you think? How can you have 4.5 workers? No, not a midget. We're talking about somebody that maybe is working part-time, right? So somewhere in between there, we have a point where we're going from a loss to a profit. So if it's not exactly 0, it's going to be between these 2 points. All right, last ultimate question, okay? How many workers should we hire according to this? What do you think? How many workers should we hire? Hopefully you're looking at the profit maximizing point. So you're probably debating between 8 and 9 workers because both of them have a profit or loss of 650, right? Well, and some of you people say, well, it doesn't make a difference. Well, actually, the profit maximizing point is going to be at 9 workers. This is going to be profit maximizing point. Why? If you remember from your notes, I told you the profit maximizing point is going to be where the profit is the highest, which is the case here. Okay, the profit's the highest. You can go double check. But also the marginal cost and the marginal revenue are the same. Okay, that is where the profit maximizing point is. That's how many workers we should hire. Okay, so I know inevitably somebody's like, well, why not 8? They have the same amount of profit. Well, think about it. It's technically not costing you any more to hire that 9th worker, okay, because you don't make any less profit. Why not? When you're talking long run, that person is already there. You can go and train them in something else, right? So it takes less time to convert them. So that's where our profit maximizing point is. All right. That said, now what's going to happen is that with whatever time you have left, I'm going to have the sub give you this paper. Okay, this paper is practicing the whole thing all at once. Okay, so you will notice that I have the price up here. So the price is up here. So remember what you need the price for. You do have a whole bunch of blanks in here. So yes, you do have to figure out your fixed costs. And remember, oh, I don't know what my fixed cost is. I can't figure that out. Start with variable costs. 540 is how much we're paying for workers. How much are we paying one worker? Okay, work through that. Okay. The last 2 at the bottom are questions that you need to do. Label the 3 stages of production on the left, just like we practiced before, okay? And then label what the break-even point and the profit maximizing point is, okay? Tomorrow I will have more practice for you of this, as well as practicing predicting supply again, and then we will have some. I'll have the answer key for this for you on Wednesday. Okay, this worksheet that Seb is going to give you is part of your notebook check. Help each other out. Okay, so you guys can work together on this as a group. All right, remember, I do have email, so email me if you have any questions. Thanks.